It's about to go down with Marc and Cathey, a live coaching show about dropping ideas. Marc and Cathey coach and have conversations with brilliant idea creators who are reimagining the world through the expression of their words, thoughts, and action.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of It's About to Go Down. I am Marc Williams.
And I'm Cathey Armillas, and we have some of our season 5 guests, and we do this little show and we call it the wrap up. And it's not like the wrap, it's like the wrap. So here we are, and we're going to wrap with some of our past guests, talk about their ideas and see kind of where they are today. Oh, and by the way, this is the first time that they've been on a call together. So it's pretty exciting. It's awesome. All of our season 5 guests are phenomenal in different ways. So we're going to take this entire episode and we're going to go, even for the people that aren't here, we are going to go through them one by one, starting with the first guest of the season. And we're going to explain what their idea was and we're going to chat. And our first guest, Rick Ornelas, he was our kickoff for season 5. And Rick runs an organization called iSpark Change. And Rick, please tell us a little bit about the idea that you shared on our show and what you've been doing since.
Well, first off, thank you, Marc and Cathey, for having me on the wrap-up show, not the rap show, but the wrap-up show, so we can rap about everything. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. But as far as what we talked about iSpark Change and really the future of iSpark Change and growing it. And what iSpark Change is all about is our purpose is to empower individuals to elevate their social impact and spread positive change. And we do that through social media. We do that through our coaching. We do that through speaking. And really the big thing that came out of the show was you two coming up with a new term, some new nomenclature that we could use for ourselves moving forward. And I had been talking about sparking change, spreading positive change, and the importance of each of us doing that in our daily lives and doing that through our businesses and our work and everything. And we can all do that. And I was discussing the ripple effect that those actions have. And I remember both of you saying, well, that sounds cool and all, but, ripple effect is not anything new. Like, people know about ripple effect. And so you two helped coin the term spark moment, which is an individual moment in time where an individual's actions impact someone else, and that spark moment can have a greater impact that they don't even realize, can have that ripple effect that goes on that changes their life. Maybe in some situations, in many situations, actually, as I've heard many stories. And so since then, I have used that term many, many times on social media. I've used it on every podcast episode. So on each podcast episode of my podcast, the iSpark Change podcast, at the end, I ask the guest to share an example of a spark moment, of a time where they were impacted or they impacted someone else, and what that looked like. And so it's become a regular part of the show. It used to just be, share an example of that ripple effect, but now it's become a spark moment. So that's exactly what we talk about. And it's all thanks to you two for creating that.
It was thanks to you for inspiring. And I got to tell you, I witnessed a spark moment in my presence on the New York City subway. Cathey, I spoke about this week. So yep. Rick, you got to know, I'm on the New York City subway. Everybody is standing on this side. This side is completely empty, because there's 2 guys laying down fast asleep on the benches. One on this bench, one on that bench. All of a sudden, this guy comes onto the subway. He's wearing this hat that has 1776 on it. And he starts taking out his phone and he's recording these 2 guys. And I'm thinking, yo, you're crazy. You should not be recording these people. but he's recording, and then he sits down, and then he looks at the one next to him, and he taps him on the foot and says, "Hey, guy, you can't sleep on the train like this." And then he goes over to the other guy and he taps him on the foot. He's like, "Hey, man, you can't sit on a train like this." And I'm thinking something is about to go down.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No pun intended. But the second guy who woke up took out his fist and fist pumped the guy wearing the 1776 hat. And he sits up like he's thankful that the guy asked him to get up. And then the next stop comes, and as people are getting on, they can now all sit down instead of standing on this side of the train. He took this act of kindness, he took this spark moment, and he opened up the train again for all of these people. And Rick, I don't know if he saw the episode. I don't know if he's heard of you. I don't know if he's watched your podcast, but he most certainly had a spark moment. And I thought of you, my friend. And man, a ripple effect, yes, that's an old term. Spark moment, that's your term. Really cool.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Mark. That's such a cool story. And I remember right after we came up with that, we were texting back and forth, in a group text with all of us. And you gave another example of something that happened. I remember it happened at school or something, but so it's amazing if you open your awareness to it, then you start to see these things, and you can see it in the negative too, right? Because you can see someone that does something negative that has an effect on others, or you can get cut off in traffic, and you can choose to wave at someone with one finger, or you can choose to have some grace and let them in because maybe they're in a hurry for some reason, and just by choosing, you never know, that could be a spark moment for them, right? It could make a difference in their day and their life and so. Thanks for sharing that. Really, really cool. And so, and thank you for, coining the term spark moment, because we've been, like I said, we've used the crap out of it all over the podcast and social media. So I did give you credit though. I did give you credit at the beginning. So I told you, as a friend of mine told me once, one of my mentors, he said, here's the rules on something being your own. I think I told you guys this.
No, I know the rule.
The first time you give credit, you're like, "Oh yeah, my friends Cathey and Marc, they came up with a spark moment." The second time, "Oh yeah, I heard this somewhere." And the third time, it's yours.
It's
now
yours.
It's mine. Like, spark moment was my idea. No, of course I give you credit, but if anyone asks, but yeah, not every time. But
yeah, that's the rule, Mark, right? Unless somebody really famous said it, then people will definitely be checking you. I love it. I just, Rick, one of the things first of all, I appreciate what you're doing in this world, and I follow you immensely. Like, I see your stuff come up on my IG feed all the time. And I appreciate that you have this inertia of trying to really make a positive difference in this world. And I see a lot of people following you. And now I've been watching pieces of your podcast, and I love what you're doing. And so this just, to me, it was such a happy, harmonious moment where we could give you something that really was truly a gift, because many times when we have these conversations, it's just the beginning. I mean, when we coach people, one hour session is one of many. So it's so nice sometimes when what comes out of these is something beautiful like that. So I love it.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Rick, just as a bonus, thank you also for inviting us on your podcast, because then Cathey and I got to talk about how this all started. So thank you for that return.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. Well, I tell you, the person who led off episode 2 of season 5 can't be with us right now, but she's inspiring me to ask Cozy and Rick and Nyasha and Aaron this question. What song do you remember that got everybody up on the dance floor, right? Whether you were at a party, a wedding, what was the song that just got everybody up on the dance floor? Who's gonna go first?
The Double Dutch Bus.
Oh, the Double Dutch Bus. Yeah.
I got a zillion of them with that one on my first.
I love it.
Aaron, do you know the Double Dutch Bus?
I feel like I have heard of it, but off
Yeah.
the top of my head,
I feel like Aaron's
Rick?
too young to know the Double
Right.
Dutch Bus.
Oh, don't discount
No,
Aaron
not
though.
that you would know, but there you go.
Don't discount Aaron.
Let me try another one. Now That We Found Love by Heavy D.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Listen, Heavy D.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah,
Yes.
New Jack sound.
All right. Never mind.
He knows
I
the
just
new
want-
Jack sound.
I have to put I'm sorry, I have to put in a plug for Aaron though. Aaron is like a 90s R&B mostly, right? And hip hop too. He, even
Yeah.
though like he knows his old school stuff. So don't discount him.
Obviously.
Although Double Dutch Bus is way before that. But.
Well, we got generation gaps going on here. You asked.
No, it's
Me too,
awesome.
me
All right,
too.
that's cozy. Rick, what about you?
I'd say, what is it? Crisscross. I think it's Jump. Is it
Oh,
Jump?
Oh yeah,
Crisscross?
yeah.
That one every time. Every time.
The Mac Daddy will
Oh.
make you jump. I love
Yeah.
it. What about you, Nyasha?
It would have to be the next episode with Dr. Dre.
Yep.
Oh,
Good one.
he went total West
Good one.
Coast on us. That's great.
Sorry about that, Mark. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all right. We got Heavy D love. Earlier.
That's true.
All right, Aaron, what you got? What you got, Aaron?
And it's like hard to say just one song because I feel like there's a lot that really get people going. But my favorite, or I wouldn't say my favorite, but like one that I feel like has always been a hit is Montel Jordan. This is how we do it.
Oh.
And I feel
yeah,
like no
for
matter
sure.
what era, like everyone really just vibes with it.
Talk about cross-generational. Absolutely. Well, this is why I asked everybody this question, because on episode 2, we had Alexis Braley James, and she does a lot of work in the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's always searching for a way to have these discussions about diversity, equity, and inclusion in a way that's not heavy and in a way that doesn't make people feel like they're being attacked or they're being offended or they're being upset. And so she talked about the rhythm of anti-racism. And we've talked so much about how she could incorporate music into her DEI trainings, because there are certain songs, whether it be the Double Dutch Bus, whether it be This Is How We Do It, the next episode, Jump. There are just certain songs that no matter what you look like, no matter what your identity is, it just kind of gets everybody up on the dance floor. So I told Alexis, I can't wait to go to my next DEI training, because I hope she walks in with the music pumping, because she is going to bring all of us together. And that's what I loved about that episode. I'm so sorry she can't be here with us to talk more about it, but she is here in presence, and she will be here as we continue to listen to some music. So thank you all for playing along with that game.
Mark, thanks for being the game initiator this time. I love it. Okay. Our third guest was Corey Pegues. Oh, I remember when I met Corey. So I remember we had the intro call with Corey Pegues, and Mark introduced me via his connection with Corey, and he had written a book called Once a Cop, and I'm having this conversation with him. So Corey Pegues was a drug dealer he was in Queens, right? It was in Queens, and then he became a cop. And then he became he made it to sergeant or something, right? Wasn't
Detective,
it? Made
yeah.
it all the way up to sergeant. And then he retired from the New York Police Department, and now he just speaks all over the world, and he talks about law enforcement, and he's like the perfect person to kind of bring in that mesh of like community to police enforcement. He's a super great guy. He also has a documentary about him and his life on Apple TV called Cops and Robbers. It's really good. So this was the thing that we talked about. And so y'all are going to get questions. For the people that aren't here, you're going to get questions on everybody's episode. So I have a question for you all. So his idea was so awesome. He said that the world doesn't need a bunch of role models. We need a bunch of real models. Real models versus role models. Because a role model, he kind of said in the episode, sometimes it's like you try to be this thing where and you're trying to live up to this role model thing that the world expects you to be. But what does it look like to be real for someone? So just really quick, I just want to hear what you all think of that idea, just your response to that idea. Who wants to go first?
Tough one, huh?
Oh, we're playing the silence game. All right, I'm going to call on somebody.
Maybe if you clarify the question, I don't think I understood it clearly.
Yeah, Nyasha, I just, this is one of the things I thought would be cool is to ask you all, even though you probably haven't seen Corey's episode, just from hearing his idea, what do you think about it? Like, what does it mean to you? And I just gave just a little description, like his idea was that we needed more real models in the world versus role models.
A role model for me would be Michael Jordan. I don't know him personally. He is famous beyond famous. A real model might be my Uncle Tommy. I know him personally. He's in my life. So who are those real models? Not the people you can't touch, feel, and eat. I was going to say taste. I don't know where I was going with that one. But hush your mouth, Cozy. Hush your mouth.
Don't do it, Cozy.
But who are those people who are closest to you? People you see on a regular, everyday basis, who are the real models in your life, as opposed to those role models in your life.
Yeah, I love that, Mark. That's a really good way to describe it. Anybody else want to go?
Off the top of my head, I would say a school teacher. And it can be from kindergarten to college. It can be a first-year kindergarten teacher or a professor. Those are real models. Our parents can be real models, right? We can have friends who can be real models.
Love it.
Walk the talk, inspire, engage, influence, encourage. And you're watching them. They are right there in the front of you. You get to see them be this person as opposed to hear about it on TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like what Cozy's saying. And I think, I'd add to that those individuals, you see them for all parts of who they are. So all the good, the bad, the ugly, the authentic, the vulnerable, you see all facets of their character and not just one side, because some of those role models, we just see one component of them, right? What's shown in the media. And even with a lot of people, even if they're, a friend or someone acquaintance or someone we know through work or what on social media, we may only see certain aspects, but those real models would be ones that you see all sides of them. And, that's where you can really learn and help understand them and connect.
Love that.
Aaron, Nyasha?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question to answer. So I was just thinking in my head, just how to best answer that. But I think it's a lot of what everyone said already, but also just the thought of mentors and how there's a mentor for every type of aspect of life. There's always the mentor for job, mentor for education. There could be a mentor for job. There could be a mentor for just how to be more financially responsible. I think there's different types of mentors, but I've always felt like mentors have helped shape me into who I am. And I always think the best mentors I'm trying to think how to word this, but I think the best mentors don't necessarily tell you what to think, but how to think, and to kind of help you kind of visualize what you're really wanting to say and then how to achieve that.
On point.
Love that.
Sounds like the security guard at Corey's school. You'll have to watch the episode to understand what that's all
true,
about.
Mark.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my take is similar to Aaron, and part of it comes from nature itself. So if we look at animals, for example, when, let's say, a cow or calf is born, it will imitate what its parent does, and or a lion, it will imitate things that are in its pack. And you probably have seen videos where one of those animals is taken out of its environment and tries to go and grow in a different environment. I've seen, for example, a little cub, right, that is taken out of being a lion, and it goes and lives with other things, and it behaves exactly like those other things, and it forgets to be a lion because of its surroundings. So I do think that, yes, you do need real models, but somebody has already said, previously, that you're the average of the people that you hang out with. So I think that is your real models, good or bad. The people that you're surrounded with equals what you're going to end up becoming. So if you want to aspire to become a better person, then the network that you are hanging out with also has to change in order for the desired outcome that you're looking for to manifest itself.
Well then, Cathey, we must be in some pretty good damn company, huh?
Oh my gosh. I mean, even taking the sum of this group right here. Ooh.
Fire, absolute
that.
fire, absolute fire. All right, Cathey, I got a question to introduce the person who was on our 4th episode. Cathey, and I'm gonna ask everybody this question. What was something you threw in the trash today, Cathey?
Oh my gosh. See, I knew you were going to throw some question at me. Okay. I didn't know that you were going to throw this question at me when I was throwing this away, but I did have a moment when I was eating some steel cut oats, and it came in it's kind of like a brown craft kind of paper, but on the inside, they make it so that you can pour water in it. So you can actually measure. It's kind of neat what they did. It's like you can measure this much water and then whatever. But then I had a moment where I'm like, can I actually recycle this? Because this feels very plasticky. And then I ended up throwing it away because I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm confused. So
all right. I don't know if that's a for shame or not. Brittany probably would say. I know Brittany would say for shame for me because I was eating those veggie straws. By the way, I think they were stale, but that's a whole nother story. And then I just threw the plastic wrap in the garbage can. And then I thought, oh no, Brittany's gonna kill me. So Nyasha, what was something you threw in the trash today?
I mean, I would say wrappers from food I ate at the airport today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Aaron, what you throw out in the trash today?
A lot of things, but I don't know if it's just like me living in New York City and just like the mail people just it's become a habit where they put other people's mail in my mailbox. So I every single week have to just dump other people's mail in my trash. So I did that earlier.
Okay. Other people's mail is my trash. That's a whole nother episode. Rick, what was something you threw in the trash today?
Some Amazon packaging, some packaging from some packages that came. Yeah, and unfortunately, in my area, there's not recycle, so it has to go in the trash. But yeah,
all right. You better make sure Brittany doesn't jump on this call. All right, Cozy, what'd you throw out in the trash today?
I threw away the large Quaker Oats box, so I keep a smaller one because one doesn't fit into one closet, and the larger one, and I keep putting it in the smaller. So I emptied it today, and it's so large right now, it's taking up my entire carpet. So I immediately thought that was a funny question. The large Quaker oat box.
taking up the entire trash.
I'm sure Brittany Zimmerman, who is on episode 4, would probably tell you what else you could do with that trash. Brittany, first of all, I felt jealous talking to Brittany because she was in Hawaii at the time when she was on the episode. I'm like, how dare you call in from Hawaii? Well, I think on our intro call, I was standing outside of a Subway while Cathey was taking all of the notes. But Brittany is brilliant in terms of the work that she does for the environment. I mean, she does so many things, and working with NASA is one of the things that she's working on. So her resume is like quite incredible and quite impressive. And what I really enjoyed about her idea was thinking about recycling and what she calls decarbonization is such a big pocket idea. And from our conversation, she was able to really bring it down to the moment. And she asked us this question: what is the right now effect of decarbonization? right? Think about right now what happens or what, will eventually happen from that very large canister of oats that we threw in the trash today. And by the way, I might have the same canister of oats. I got the 1 minute grill on my oats. I know. Shame on me. But it's in my trash too, just like yours. And Brittany has definitely raised our level of consciousness. So definitely appreciated Brittany being on the call with us this season. She definitely helped us to open our minds and think about how to do things differently.
Thanks, Mark. And so number 5, our 5th guest on number 5, season 5 would be Cozy Stone. If you like those good numbers, Cozy is a humorvational speaker, which we love that. Mark and I heard that and we were like, humorvational? Oh, we got it. We cannot wait. Cozy was talking about happiness, but Cozy, you're here, so I'll let you explain what you talked about and what you've been doing since.
It's pretty much something I talk about every day and have been talking about probably my entire life. I'm a person who aspired to be happy. Only surround myself with people who aspire to be happy, but more importantly, I've got a deep-seated love for children. So I took my comedy background and took it into the Clark County school districts and talk about life's lessons in a humorous way, humorvational. It's so satisfying. I cannot tell you the satisfaction that I get standing in the front of the classroom, watching them relate, getting them to participate, the questions, the fact that I explained to them at the beginning of the session, everyone is going to speak. We're going to be quiet and respectful and listen to everyone. And it's a well-run machine. And then outside of the classroom, I'm a very silly person, as you both know.
Yes, you are.
I love being an adult, but too much adult is too much for me. So silly keeps me healthy. Silly keeps me youthful. Silly brings a lot of joy to others. And that is my purpose on life, to bring joy and laughter to others, and I'm pretty good at it.
You are. You definitely are.
So, funny side note, I met Cozy on a pickleball court in Las Vegas. And my sister and I were there. We were just visiting for a couple of days and we both kind of gotten into pickleball. So one thing that I really loved is like the minute I met Cozy on the court, I felt all those things that she said. Mark, we met her and my sister was like, you got to have her on your show. And I was like, I already know. Like, I was like, I already got that from playing with her, playing pickleball with her for a couple minutes. And so I super grateful, Cozy, that I did, our paths did cross. And I love your take. I remember something that you said on the show that really resonated with me is you were like, I ain't got time for unhappiness, or like, I just remember that feeling of, I don't remember exactly how you said it, but you're like, I don't have time for that. If something negative comes on, I'm not going to partake in it. If somebody negative's around me, I'm just not going to be in that space. I just won't do it. And that was something that really stuck and resonated with me.
And I tell you what else resonates with me. Every day we get a text from Cozy.
Yes, we do.
And I love them. They're filled with wisdom and humor. One of the last ones was, I'm not a hot mess. I'm a spicy disaster.
I love that. I know. I was looking it up to see. I was just picking up my phone. I was like, I loved one of the. Yes,
that was yesterday.
That was yesterday's. Yep.
Yes. And there were probably a few others that you shared that I won't share, but they just had us rolling.
See how easy it is?
You are fabulous. You are absolutely fabulous.
And before we move on, Mark has already been on my podcast. I don't know if any of you gentlemen, probably not Aaron. Aaron, are you a dad?
I am not a dad.
Thank
not
you.
Yet.
I was hoping like hell you said no. So I have a podcast where I promote responsible adults. That's the phrase that I use. And it doesn't matter if these parents had their children at 16 or 17, and I'm finding out a lot of my guests have, but today their children are out of the house. They're taking care of their own children. If you know of someone like these, please give them my cozy up and pay attention at Gmail. I would love to have them on. Right now, the show is booked till the end of January. I had no idea the satisfaction that I was going to get, and the show is growing more than everything I've had on YouTube and online. This is what is going out and resonating with others. I'm simply trying to help people have a clue about how responsible and how important it is to raise a child. That is not a joke. It's not. So I want people to hear what these parents have done and are doing to keep their kids on the out of jail, out of jail, and maybe not keep repeating 16-year-olds, 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 16-year-olds having kids.
Nice.
Here's Miss Brittany.
Yeah.
There's Miss Brittany.
Oh, sorry, I'm late, guys.
No, it's all good. Brittany, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing amazing. Thank you. It's so nice to see your guys' faces.
It's
Yeah.
awesome to see you. It's awesome to see you. Brittany, I gotta let you know, we were just talking about your episode a few moments ago, and before we talked about it, we asked everybody in the group, what was a piece of trash that they threw out today?
Trash talking count?
Yes, it was
talking.
trash talking. It was trash talking. Brittany, we were able to tell everybody about what you spoke about. So I guess it'd be great if you could tell us for a few moments, since we had our conversation, what have you done with your idea?
Ooh, so some cool stuff I got to share with you guys. So I took the idea of trying to explain sort of the life cycle analysis, right? Which is what we were talking about, of like, where did it come from? What happens during its use, and where does it go afterwards? And I actually established a bit of a workshop. So we just went through our full first workshop on it, which was really cool. We did record it, so I'll share it with you guys, certainly.
Yes.
And this one was really geared towards 6th to 12th graders. And we went through a plain white cotton tee and just where, how do you guys think this ends up in your hands, right? What are the impacts of this simple white t-shirt? And so it was pretty cool because it was very interactive. We were able to go backwards, like, okay, well, it comes from cotton. Well, where does the cotton come from? Well, it's grown in a field. Well, where is that field located, right? What do you need in order to grow the cotton? So we start talking about fertilizers, and we start talking, about water. And it's like, okay, how do we get the water and the fertilizers there? And they're like, oh, well, I guess we need pumps, and we need trucks, and we need all of these things. Like, okay, what is all of that made out of? And we got to kind of go backwards, as far as we could to investigate what the implications, on us socially and environmentally are of purchasing a single or utilizing a single white cotton t-shirt is. And then also, right, what happens? We have to wash it. Where does the soaps come from? How does the machines that we utilize get built? What happens when we're done with it type stuff. And it was really effective. It was really cool. I actually, got some communications from the community who asked if I put a full adult workshop together on it also. So I'm going to do that too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what, Mark? Like, it's funny because this came up in we were talking, one of the folks up at our TEDx Portland retreat, actually, Brittany, I was thinking about you the whole time. He did a 5-minute talk on, funny enough that you used a cotton t-shirt. He talked about the life cycle of clothing and like how to be
textiles,
be more sustainable with textiles and stuff. So that, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And what he said was fascinating. So I cannot wait to see your workshop. And I can see why adults would want to be part of it as well. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we can, like, the kids knew so much about, like, where stuff comes from that you wouldn't think to, like, they're on it, right? I think a lot of times we have a propensity of thinking and speaking to children like they're children, and forgetting that they have this mind that is so much more capable of retaining information than even our own are. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
That is
it's fun.
awesome. That is awesome. Well, let me draw a connection between what Brittany has done and the question that Cozy just asked, because during episode 6, we had my good friend Dave Graber, a fellow educator who I've worked with for many years. He would absolutely love to hear, Brittany, about the workshop that you've done with the kids, because it so much ties in with his idea about authentic assessments, right? And that we do too much just testing and drill and kill, and we're not giving to students a real authentic experience with their learning. And I will tell you, for anybody who did not see the episode, Dave gave Cathey and I a math quiz. Our brains were sweating.
I failed it. I failed. I think I totally failed.
You know, it was absolutely awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And what was great about the math problem that he gave us is that he really showed us that there was not really one answer. And that it was really all about thinking about things from different ways. And we need to give children those opportunities so that they're thinking less about the answer and they're thinking more about thinking. And Cozy, he has raised his own household of children, and none of them are in jail.
So maybe he could be on your podcast.
Exactly, and that's why I was saying that. So I definitely want to be able to connect Dave with you, so he can not only talk about authentic assessments, but he could talk about what he's been doing in his own household to raise some very good children. Awesome, absolutely awesome. All right, Cathey, tell them about Shauna K.
Oh, Shauna K. So we had Shauna K. Brown on, and talk about just a ray of light, just a young woman out there. This is what I love about everybody that comes on our show, Mark, right? I mean, everybody has great ideas. Everybody is activating great ideas in different ways. And, you know, Shauna K talked about, like, her idea was kind of figuring out what is my great, you know, trying to figure that out. And she absolutely wants to give a TED Talk, and she will give a TED Talk, but she also wants to just be out there and speaking motivationally. And I just remember, Mark, she had this story. I can't quite remember all the details, but she had a story of when somebody told her that she couldn't do something. And she was like, perfect. I just need to figure out, I'm going to figure out a way to do it because of that. And so her whole message was around that. Like, what can be your great?
And what I loved about it, Rick, and you'll love this, she also spoke about how to be great in this moment, right? Yeah. And although she wasn't necessarily talking about a spark moment, it resonated for me, the connection between you and her. So definitely would love to connect the two of you and talk about being great in the moment and having spark moments, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Cool. All right, so the next person on this season was on episode 8, and he scared us.
Yes, he did. Yes,
right?
He did.
First, he had us talking about insurance, and I don't know what kind of insurance, Cozy, you got. Rick, I don't know what kind of insurance you got. Brittany, I don't know what kind of insurance you got. Aaron, I don't know what kind of insurance you got. But whatever kind of insurance you got, you don't have enough. And this is not a Geico commercial. This is not a Progressive commercial. This is a message about how we are all 2 degrees away from getting hacked. I mean, he dropped so much knowledge that, Nyasha, go ahead. Talk to the group about what your idea was and what you've been doing with the idea since we last had our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I crisscrossed the country trying to educate people about this threat that's already here, which is cyber terrorism. So there's a hack that happens every 30 seconds. Odds are, of those 30 seconds, it's a lawyer or a construction company that gets hacked. And there are also different flavors of hacks that happen in those 30 seconds, which is personal hacks. So you might have received a text that says authentication code for your Twitter or your Facebook or your Instagram. And that's because your password is on the dark web. I can guarantee that. So it's like we can get a Tor browser, go on the dark web, search your name, probably will find you personal information that's related to you. So anybody can buy that information and launch an attack for like against you for as little as $150. And on the dark web, it's called ransomware as a service, or RAS. It's literally like Amazon. You can go buy the code, they can launch it for you. They even have customer support for it as well. If you want a wallet that's different than Bitcoin and have the cash withdrawn somewhere where the FBI can't get a reach off, they can also do all of that for you on there. So the idea there was just, how do we add additional layers to just protect yourself? Because it's not a matter of, I'm very secure. It's going to happen to you at some point. And when it does, you should be at least in a position to be able to recover from it. And if there are things that happen where you're a business owner, the damages can be very severe, to the point where you're actually going to go out of business because you expose people's information. And it's as simple as a contract, for example. Somebody can sue you for it. In the state of New York, you are required to get credit monitoring for those people up to 7 years. Each one of those licenses can be $250. So if you have 100 customers, you can do the math. It's very devastating to people.
Nyasha, do you remember what you told everybody about Venmo?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Listen up, everybody. Listen up. Pull out your Venmo app right now. Go ahead, Nyasha.
Yeah, so everybody always thinks their Venmo app is secure. So somebody just has to have access to your phone, and that's it. They can move money on your Venmo, because if you get access to it, it's not secure. There's no password to it. You get in and you can take as much money as you want from it. Cash App is a perfect one too. So I'd encourage people to add additional layers to those applications, so that you're not going to be in a position where somebody gets into your phone, and they can do it remotely as well. So you can have it locked with your face, and they get in and they will move money from your wallets that you have digitally as well.
I have to say, Mark, I think you remember, I literally, while we were still in the conversation with Nyasha, I couldn't believe that it wasn't standard. I actually had to go into the settings and say, add a password. I did it the day that we were talking to him.
Yes. So Venmo can be very secure if you listen to Nyasha's advice.
I wanted to call something else out that you said, Nyasha, that I think maybe the general public doesn't know. And so it's like, it was really interesting when you were saying that that there's insurance. I forgot what it's ransomware insurance, right? Is that what it is? Is it ransomware? Is that the name of the insurance?
Yeah, so it's called cyber insurance.
Oh, cyber insurance.
And
okay.
It protects against this kinds of things. So for business owners, most people think that if you just have general liability, it's going to cover you against ransomware attack. But you're really up against governments like Russia, North Korea, Saudi Arabia is in this game too, Israel, where they can do a lot of things. And you have to buy a separate policy that actually protects you from that. And some carriers this year actually stopped covering acts from government entities, because that's an act of war, as they call it, right? So you have to go to specialty carriers that will protect you. And it's a real thing. When it does happen to you, your insurance company is going to drop you, because they'll just say, well, we're not supposed to cover this. You should have bought this other policy. Very inexpensive, but at least have something that will protect you from something like that. And you can also buy a personal umbrella, right, to protect yourself too.
Yeah, and I should thank you. I found it really interesting when you said the thing about because I know that there was a local restaurant here in the Portland area that they got hit with some ransomware. And I was so fascinated to find out that part of the insurance might cover somebody that will actually negotiate, because you could take it to the feds or something and nobody's going to do anything about it. It's like way too small. And so they actually, part of the insurance is like somebody negotiating to get your systems back up and running, however that might look.
Yeah, it's called a ransomware negotiator. And I think anybody who's listening to this, who's looking into different career fields, this is a great one, because you're going to be so busy with this kind of work. So a ransomware negotiator is a person who acts as the intermediary between the hacker and the company that got hacked. So they're really the ones who use the insurance, and they're the ones who go find the Bitcoin. They will pay the hackers, and they get paid a % of whatever is negotiated. On top of that, you will need cyber security like experts. So if you're a business, typically a cyber attack is not one-off. They will leave other ransomware so they can come and attack you again. So you need somebody who actually comes and checks all your systems and removes any malware or ransomware that has been inserted. So the trend is typically people who get hacked now, they'll get hacked 2 months from now, again, because that malware and ransomware was just left and it's dormant, waiting for the next attack.
Wow. I don't know about everybody else on this call, but Mark and I were just like mind blown. So Nyasha, thank you for sharing your idea. Thank you for being on the call and talking about it. It's so fascinating. And I am so happy that you're out there, helping people. If anybody's seen Nyasha's episode 2, just like the story about your friend, like it just makes me think that, you want to make sure you're covered when something really bad happens.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with one more thing, which is another thing that just happened here in Long Island. There's Suffolk County. They got hacked with a group from North Korea, and they went after real estate transactions. So for the last 45 days, nobody's been able to close on home sales because the whole system is being held like by ransom. So it's that bad where even the government cannot protect you. It happened to the US government. SolarWinds was another one, right? Like where the largest breach ever, and not even the US government could protect itself.
Wow. If that doesn't blow your mind, and if I know all of you are looking right now on how to get cyber insurance, right? Asha, thank you. It's just so mind-blowing, and it is a forever thing right now. It's something, like you said, that's going to be continuing to probably get worse and worse. Our 9th guest on the show, taking a totally different turn, Dr. Omekongo Dibinga. What can I say about him, Mark? He's a poet. He's a spoken word poet. He's a rapper. He's a professor. He's a doctor. He is a motivational speaker. He's a Hall of Fame speaker in NSA, the National Speakers Association. He is and he teaches a class at the American University in Washington, D.C. What was the name of it? It's like it's about Jay-Z. It's basically how Jay-Z became a billionaire. So that's he had done his dissertation on that when he was going through college. And then then they asked him to do a class on that. And he says it's like the most popular class in the university. So it's amazing. So Omekongo got on and he was talking about a lot of, we were speaking in the area of, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I really loved Omekongo's take because, do you remember, Mark, he taught us a word? I'm going to see if I can get this word right. Agnotology? Wasn't it agnotology?
Yes.
So quiz for everybody on this call. Does anybody know what agnotology means? Okay, good. You don't have to feel bad. We did not know either. We were like, what? And Mark, you even said, I'm an English teacher. What's going on here? Agnotology is being culturally ignorant. Basically, that's what it was. It's like being culturally ignorant. And so he posed a challenge to us. So I'm going to pose it to everybody listening again, and then everybody on this call really quick to just think about this. He posed a challenge of like, he's like, yeah, there's people that will tell you that you should do what things that you should do in this space. But honestly, it's as simple as how you consume information. For instance, he said, take the things that you do, like, what comedians do you watch? What books are you reading? What movies are you watching? And then look at the people that are creating these and that are in these. Can you change that up? If you've never watched, somebody from India that's like maybe a comedian, do that. If you've never read a book from a Native American woman, do that. Like, and you don't even have to tell anybody about it. Just do it on your own. So that was something I loved. What about you, Mark?
Actually, that was the activity that I've taken to work and that I've taken at home. It's just an idea of, and he did it in so many ways. He said, think of your friends, think of your coworkers, think of family members, think of neighbors, and actually write down 7 people in each of those categories.
Yep.
And then look at the makeup or the identity of those people. If they all look alike or if they all share an identity, that tells you a lot, right? And that might give you some room to now introduce somebody who looks, sounds, feels, Cozy, here I go, tastes different.
Here we go again.
There we go again. And so, the example was like, if I listen to a whole bunch of comedians who are the Chris Rocks, the Kevin Harts, the Tracy Morgans, when am I going to switch that up? And add somebody else to the mix who might look a little different. So it was a great homework assignment that he kind of gave to us and everybody else who was watching. So I definitely would love for everybody at some point in their time beyond today's call to think about who are the 7 people in each of the different categories in your life and how can you diversify your 7. Nice.
I loved it. As a bonus, Mark, remember he did a spoken word kind of rap at the beginning and at the end.
And at the end, definitely.
It was great.
He was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. And then we capped off season 5 with the man, the myth, the legend, the award-winning, might I add, Aaron Marshall. And Aaron, you got to know that after we finished having that conversation, I went upstairs to the dinner table, I went on YouTube, and I showed my family that video. I went to my office and I showed people that I work with that video. It was powerful. And for everybody in the group right now who does not know what the video is, we will make sure you get the link to this PSA. Aaron, absolutely phenomenal. What you did with it has been a ripple effect, or to use Rick's word, a spark moment for so many people. So Aaron, tell everybody in the group about the video, tell everybody about the idea that you talked about with us, and talk to us about what you've done with the idea since.
Definitely. So the idea that we talked about was really just the power of vulnerability and being yourself and just really owning what shapes you, what makes you, and what really makes you who you are. And the campaign we did was all around raising awareness for stuttering and for people who have a speech impediment. And it was just inspired by me having one my entire life. And, it really has shaped just the way that I look at the world and just like the way that I interact with people, and like how I once thought it was a big liability. And now I think it's one of my best assets, because I think it kind of has taught me to look at the world differently. And just as an example, just like when it comes to listening, when it comes to empathy, when it comes to just like really getting to know people and getting to see like who they are as human beings, and, just resonating that, not everyone in the world has one, but we all have our own things that we're trying to battle or fight, or just kind of every day, just kind of move and move and move. So it was really rooted in just raising awareness. But the literal PSA we did was with a non-profit, which is here in New York City. And it's for like kids from, I'd say like 7 to like 15 or so. And they all have stutters themselves. So this campaign was a piece where, you know, we didn't hire actors. We didn't try and go find people who can imitate it. We used like actual young boys and girls. And, you know, with the ad, we just kind of encourage them to, you know, when they talk, just talk. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. If it takes like a minute just to say one sentence, you know, we really just wanted to really make it feel authentic and real. And I think it was helpful for me to, when we did this like a year ago, just to like kind of interact with them and just kind of tell them, like, I've been where you are. I know what those insights are, that kind of lean in into what it's like every day. Because kind of the insight that made the PSA what it was is like, you know, for a lot of us, public speaking is not something that we just naturally love. We just kind of have to do it with our jobs, or, you know, it's just like a thing that, you know, there are some people who actually love it, and then there's some people who just kind of do it because they have to. And I'm one of those people who just kind of like does it because I have to. I wouldn't say like I love it, but it just really shaped how those of us, you know, every day is a public speaking moment. You know, whether we are at a restaurant, like ordering like meals, or, you know, if you're on the line with your insurance and you have to like answer like, what's your address, what's your number, like any type of interaction on your day-to-day basis where you have to talk to people, that is our version of this like big public speaking occasion. So it was really to get people to look at the world in a different way and just kind of have empathy. And we're not asking them to like give us this like special moment or like kind of feel bad for us. It was just really asking you to be patient when we talk, because what we have to say is important. It just from time to time will take longer just to literally get the words out.
Beautiful. And I love how you wrapped it at the end when you said, say what you gotta say, no matter how long it takes to get it out. And I remember after you said that, Cathey was like, that's the name of the TED Talk. That's the name of the book. And by the way, when you watch this, just know that this PSA was launched during the Today Show. My man Aaron is big time. He is big time.
And then like, so what I've been doing since our chat, I mean, really a lot of things. I mean, I work in advertising, so, you know, you're kind of in an industry where you have to give a lot of presentations or like speeches, or at least, you know, talk to people face to face. So I think it's really just shaped the way that I present work, even if I have hurdles, or like even if there are moments where like it takes me a little longer to say words, or if there's words that just make it hard. I think it's just giving myself the ability to not worry and not think so much about what's going on, and just know that no one knows what I'm saying better than me, because I was the one who had the idea. So yeah, I think it's just being patient with myself. But also recently I've become a mentor with the organization that we worked with, because at first, you know, all I really did, or what we did at the agency that I work with, is we made this ad. But recently I've had this really like interest, this like passion to be more involved, like not just do advertising, but to really be a mentor and kind of show them that I was once in their shoes, and just having them have a real mentor to, you know, interact with and talk with, and, you know, just navigate life, you know, as you get older and as you're looking for jobs, and kind of like those moments where those of us with a speech impediment may be nervous to like talk in big moments. And then next week, I'm actually going to a award show in LA, because it was nominated for Ad of the Year. So I think then is another opportunity to just raise awareness and talk to people, and just kind of bring stuttering to light more in our society. I just don't think it's talked about that much. And I'm sure, as you all know, if you look at shows and movies, you know, the person who talks like that is usually always shaped in a negative way. You know, they kind of look like they have a problem, or there's something wrong with them, or they're the butt of the joke. So, you know, I think it's just trying to keep moving and keep trying to raise awareness, and, you know, just get people to know that, you know, we are humans too. Like, we're normal people. It just takes longer to get words out.
Cool. Aaron, am I allowed to jump in?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to tag you up with a good friend of mine named Chris. He's one of the best engineers I've had the pleasure of working with. Got to stand next to him while he was doing NASA reviews with me. He's a lead engineer right now at SpaceX, and he owns his stutter. I mean, we'll be in some of the highest stress situations in terms of technical design reviews, and nobody even bats an eye. Like, I think he's a super awesome champion, and I love to tag you guys up because I don't think anybody even really talks about it, but like inside we're always like, that dude's it, you know, like that guy's got heart. So I'd love to make a connection offline for you.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to add to say, I think what's nice about what you just said is that even Joe Biden, the president, has a starter as well, but he didn't let it limit his abilities, and now he's the leader of the free world.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Love that.
Brittany, I love that you made that connection because it's just the embodiment of why we do this wrap-up episode, right? It's not just to celebrate what you brought to your episode, and it's not only to celebrate what you've done with it beyond, but it's to make those connections. We're building community here through It's About to Go Down, and so thank you for taking that step, and thank you for everybody for everything that you've shared today. It's been awesome, right, Cathey?
It's been amazing. Yeah. Thank you all. Again, Marc, you already put it out there. I just want to make sure the world knows that because we're putting it out there now publicly, right? We're going to get all of our community together at some point. Well, Marc and I probably have to argue if it's West Coast or East Coast. I mean, if Brittany gives us a great space in Hawaii, we might do it in Hawaii.
I can host. Yeah.
See, Brittany might host us in Hawaii, y'all. I'm sure she's not going to pay for us all to come out there, but Marc, thank you all for being here today. And for anybody watching, I hope you know that that's the space that our show is in, right? We want the world to hear everybody's ideas. We want people to intermingle with ideas. We want people to create mentorships. We want people to make other people's lives better. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
So Brittany will take us to Hawaii. Aaron will create an ad campaign for it. Niaja is going to make sure that all of the insurance is covered and we do not get cyber hacked. And Cozy is going to open up the show with all of her humor motivational, and it's just going to be one awesome event. So thank you all. Thank you all for making season 5 so absolutely special. Thank you for being a part of the It's About to Go Down alumni community. Thank you for setting a trend and a standard for what's about to come next. And what's about to come next is season 6, Cathey. We're gonna do it all over again and add more people to the community. This has been an absolute joy, and I tell everybody all the time, every time. I still save that text message, or rather that voice message from Cathey from day one when she said, I got an idea. And it didn't matter what she was gonna say, I was down. And that's it. She had an idea, I was down, and we called it It's About to Go Down. So Cathey, thank you for giving birth to this.
Thanks, Marc. All right, everybody. Well, with that, our wrap up, I think it's a wrap. So until next time, y'all, it's about to go down.
Thank you, and happy holiday to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too as well. See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Aloha.